Good morning. Today we are going to continue where we left off yesterday in the Maharam of Prague. So yesterday we discussed that knowing um, exile from redemption, first you need to know, in order to understand the redemption that is going to happen, the Geula that is going to happen very soon, one first has to understand the Golos, the exile. And the Maharal brought what we say in the Haggadah on Pesach, on Passover. We say, um, first we start off with that our forefathers served idols, and then Abraham, Avram Avinu chose and recognized, realized God, whether he was 3 years old, 40 years old. And then we left Egypt, and then God gave us the Torah. So going out of Egypt was the first redemption. Then we had the redemption by Purim, by Hanukkah, and now we are waiting for the third redemption, the redemption of Purim and Hanukkah, and now we have the third one that we're waiting for very soon, um, to happen, to occur. If anything, we're in the middle of it. The things that are happening in the world are pointing in that direction, that it's very, very soon. So, in order to understand and prepare oneself, one needs to first understand the idea of golos, the idea of exile, and then one can understand the Geula. So we're going to post in the comments in the description the PDFs, and one can follow along. First, we need to understand and preface the idea of exile in the beginning. That the exile itself on the onset is a proof for the redemption that is going to happen. There is no doubt that exile is out of the norm of the order of events, the way it is ought to be. That God put each nation in its proper place. And God put the Jews, put Israel in their specific part, where they're supposed to be. Shahuar Israel, which is the land of Israel. And the Jews going into exile out of the land of Israel is not the way things are supposed to be. And anything that goes out of his natural events, like you say that this is not a natural occurrence, the same idea here, the Jews going out of Israel into exile, be it by the first destruction of the first temple or second temple, first Beis Hamikdash or second Beis Hamikdash, that was totally out of nature. And we're out of our place. So therefore, we don't have the backbone to stay where we are, because it's not one. It's like putting someone in not their you take an animal out of the jungle and you try to put him into a zoo, and it's not his natural habitat. He's not going to survive there long. But where does one be who he really is when he goes back to where he's supposed to be? For example, a guy goes to work and then he comes back home. Where does he where do you see the person for who he is? That is when he's home. So the same idea here, that when the Jews will go back, when we go back speaking in our days to Eretz Yisrael, that is going to be our home. That's our homeland. That's our natural habitat. If one is going to stay where he in his unnatural habitat, not where he's supposed to be, the unnatural was going to turn natural, and therefore Sadly, for some, or even a person by himself, sometimes one is ought to think that this is the way things are going. It's totally natural. It's totally normal. We've been here already. God forbid, so long. So God forbid it will be a little bit longer. It is impossible for something natural, for something in one accord of events, one line of events to become something unnatural to become natural. Mashal zeh, and it gives an example. Im ata machriach es chilek ha'esh shehiyah oimid ba'aretz. If one takes a flame and he puts it on the ground, that it should stay there. Fire goes, a fire always rises up. Ata machriach oiser chutz l'makom ha'tivi liyas oimid lamata. What happens if you try to force fire against its nature to stay down here and not go up? So to earth, mud, earth, ground, its place is down here. If you force some of the ground to go up, if it would stay not where it's supposed to be, if let's say the fire would stay down here and it wouldn't go up, for example, the fire would just stay down here and it wouldn't go up, or the ground, you would shoot it up, let's say, against its nature, and it would stay there, then that would obviously be a proof that nature could be turned into an unnatural state. But obviously, we see that it's not so. So the same idea, he goes into that. And like we mentioned, that exile is going out of one's habitat, and it's impossible that something that is in nature can be changed into that tivi becomes bilti tivi. So therefore, Jews going into exile, or for that matter, the world going into a state of exile, is not where they're supposed to be, and where we're supposed to be. The plan, if you want to say, from the get-go was that the world should recognize that God runs the world, and then through recognizing that God runs the world and acting benevolent and kind to one another, then that will refine the world. Everyone will get along, and then eventually that will, by itself, naturally bring about the Geula, as we will continue tomorrow, God willing, Bezras Hashem. Have a wonderful day. So, in a nutshell, what the Maral mentions is that Golos itself is a proof on the Geula, that being in Golos is not where you're supposed to be, and it's almost as if you're going to tell fire, stay where you are, don't go up, or tell earth, go up and stay there. If it would stay there, then it would be out of the natural events, out of the way that God made it. Fire goes up, earth goes down, or for that matter, any inanimate being, you throw a rock, it goes down because it weighs more. So someone being out of his own natural self, not his own place, that is in itself godless. When a person goes back to where he's supposed to be, then the person is in a redeemed state of mind. See you all again tomorrow.